Zach wrote hope. Wrote Dillon Gabriel gave you hope. I had a big thing earlier today. I think you kind of saw it, where I had said, guys, I forgot my media brethren, some of them, had said that he looked terrible during training camp, that he didn't even look like an NFL QB. So when I say that he goes and looks like how I expected, I think a lot of people thought he looked terrible. And I'm going, no, he didn't look terrible at all. I said, I went back and forth with one guy. I said, buddy, if saying that he's going to look competent against Brian Flores and a pretty good defense is a negative thing, I can't imagine what you think is positive. It's probably just not even on the same wavelength. But when people think I'm part of the group that saw him during camp, and I didn't get to see much, and honestly, the days I was at camp, he wasn't bad. It wasn't anything like, oh my God, the earth shook underneath my feet.
Yeah, weren't there Baker days where it looked like, oh, we might have something here?
Oh yeah, there were Baker days where he looked different. And again, I thought he threw the ball very strong. Talking about Dillon Gabriel, but there were days, when any one of these guys looked terrible, just terrible, and Baker included. Clearly, there was days where obviously I'm sure Dillon Gabriel looked passable or good. Again, Lance Reisland's going to be on at 6:00 this evening. Go listen to Lance live on Afternoon Drive. Watch it on YouTube live, because Lance disagrees with me about the 3rd and 11, and he thought that he was the one guy I saw who had some really positive things to say about Dillon Gabriel during camp. And I just said, guys, I can't argue with my brethren because I'm not there as much as I have been in years past. It was a weird year for me. So I had to wait until he played. And I go, hey, they took him because he's good on the whiteboard. They took him because he has a lot of experience. They took him because they believe that he knows a lot about football. He should be able to at least conduct the offense. Now, the offense was very conservative. Hope, though, is a weird word. Hope is hope for a win for the game. I think that's what Zach meant. But does hope give you the fact or the thought that he's going to be a franchise quarterback for you? Because when I said that he did what I thought he was going to do, I had several people respond. This is the internet, for crying out loud. But I had several people, we did have some calls as well, who were asking, well, you can't judge him off of one game. And I go, well, I'm not making a full judgment. But then there was the comparison to Baker. And I go, hey, just because both guys aren't 6'5", one guy was number 1 overall. The other guy's number 94 overall. Let's not, because we want to replace a guy that had his ups and certainly had his downs, because we want to replace a guy because we can't stand our situation now, and we don't believe in the future, where if we're watching on Saturdays with some of these guys, depending on who I'm talking to, I can't put unrealistic expectations on Dillon Gabriel. So what do you really expect from Dillon Gabriel? Because we asked John Greco. John would not say, John was non-committal. And John's not mean towards Dillon Gabriel at all. But John Greco was non-committal towards Dillon the rest of the year.
What are the odds Dillon Gabriel holds this starting quarterback position for the rest of the year?
If I was in Vegas, I would not bet on that. I hope he does. There's so much of this season left, and there's so much pressure already. People are so angry at me because I don't want Shedeur Sanders in there right now, and I'm excited about him. I want to see him in there, but I don't want to see him in there as a result of another guy playing poorly or the offense not executing. My God, we're already. I hear people already talking about next year and firing the coach. That sucks. It's October 7th. I wasn't joking about Deshaun Watson. People can like that or hate it, but I think I would bet that in Vegas that he's going to start at some point this season.
My issue is he ever going to play bad enough where you can make the natural transition? Because you going by what Ian Rappaport had said, you're going to give Shedeur a week. So Shedeur is going to remain the emergency QB. It's going to be Dillon. Then if he gets hurt or something bad happens during a game, it's going to go back to Joe. Then maybe the next week, Shedeur Sanders will take over. But do I see Dillon Gabriel playing bad enough where you would just go, all right, what the hell, we're going to play Shedeur, or we need to go to Shedeur? One of those two sentences has to be said to hit the green light on Shedeur playing the next week. I've been telling people the number one question that I got asked in Disney, because I wore Browns gear, the number one thing I got asked was, are they going to play Shedeur Sanders this year? And my answer was unequivocally yes. Yes. And I was always met with, how? Why? How? I swear to God, they're going to play Shedeur this year. And I go, yes. Well, how does he get on the field? I go, well, You're probably not going to win very many more football games. It's going to be a point where he does have I think he has a high ceiling. They might be tantalized by the ceiling. The guys playing on Saturday. Again, a lot of the names that we brought up so many times before have not shown anything. So you got to warm up to some names that we didn't talk about before. Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, and maybe by the end of the year, they become household names. That'd be great. But you're going to have to warm up to those guys, so it's going to go, well, we got to see it out. But now I looked at Dillon Gabriel, and I know that there's going to be more tape on him next week, and there's going to be an opportunity to bring him to justice next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. But can I see a scenario where he plays so poorly where they say they got to not just go to Shedeur, but change the entire offense? I can say I want to go to Shedeur because I want to see Shedeur. I'm curious. I like him. I want to see if people are proven right or wrong about him. The season may be out of reach anyway, and it's already looks like it is at 1-4. I can use those as reasons, but I don't. Right now, and it's so early, so I guess I could, but I really can't foresee a way that I would say Dillon Gabriel's just so bad. Get him out of there. We got to see what we have in Shedeur. It would just be like, hey, you know, you had your clicks, you had your chances, now it's time for Shedeur.
I know. I looked at Kevin Stefanski's demeanor at the end of that game, and he looked kind of annoyed with something that was going on there, and who knows if that was a Gabriel issue, because all we see Stefanski.
Oh, okay.
And it looked like, on that 3rd and 11, which, Stefanski should be mad at himself, first and foremost, for not just running the football, or if you're going to throw a pass play, something that was so safe that no matter what, even if it has an outside chance to get some chunk yards out of nowhere because you catch them off guard, then it stays in bounds, keeps the clock moving. At the very least, they've got to have plays in the arsenal that are way smarter than what they drew up. With that said, it was a no-chance play. He throws the ball way out of bounds. And if you look at the numbers, like Dillon was steady on all the easier stuff, the short stuff, the safety valve stuff, the, screen game, fine. I think you can find 80 quarterbacks that can run a screen game. I don't think that's a big, tip of the cap to your quarterback you drafted in the top 100 to just sit there and run screens all day. My God, you could take someone in the 7th round that could run screens. But in the end, if he can't...
Might have got a chance to see that with the undrafted Max Brosmer. But
absolutely.
Carson Wentz was okay.
I will say, we keep saying, he looked passable. He looked fine. He looked competent. He really didn't look any of those things on must-get or 3rd down and longer situations. He didn't look that at all. He looked like a bad quarterback on those plays. It was everything underneath that. So you have to manage him. At least in his first game as a rookie, which is fine.
But then I see
I'm not asking for them to replace him now, but if in 3 games it looks like that where they got no chance to get first downs on 3rd and long, you're just wasting time with Dillon Gabriel.
That's some of the same problems that I see with Joe Flacco. So now I have to look at it and go, how's it going to be any better with Shedeur Sanders? Because Joe Flacco's 6'5", 6'6". So don't give me the height thing, because I've said, hey, longer routes, people move away from you. What happens? When people move away from you, they look smaller. It's harder to see them. Plus, you're running out of time because you're going to have a bad offensive line in front of you, at least a sieve over there on the left side, and you can see it because you're a left-hander, so you can see the pressure coming towards you. You already probably have no trust in the left tackle position. Now, you got to go back and look at some of the other spots, but maybe the 4/5 of the offensive line was fine on Sunday. Maybe that's the case. But to develop those long routes, that sounds a lot like Joe Flacco, what you just said to me. No faith in long passes, no faith on stretching the defense. We did that with 4 games for Joe.
Yeah, well,
so if it's the same issue, then how am I going to expect 2 out of 3?
Dillon actually had time to throw, though, on those 3rd and longs. Joe didn't. He was the most pressured quarterback the week before, and last week he was one of the least. Now, part of it was they were getting rid of the ball faster, so you're going to catch 22, really. I mean, no matter who your quarterback is, they manage the game more. He trusted Kevin, maybe put too much trust in Joe. I don't know. But also Joe didn't have a running game. And,
True.
That entire game, they had a running game for the first time all year from start to finish. I shouldn't say finish because in the 4th quarter, their running game kind of evaporated. So maybe that was bad usage. But first 3 quarters, they ran the ball really, really well in a dominant fashion.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I would say. I'm not closing the book. Obviously, I didn't think he had much of a ceiling anyway, and I didn't think he was going to be stretching the field like crazy. But you do have to see some of it over the next 7 weeks.
So what do you really expect from him is what you just said. What I really expect from him is what I just saw. I don't know. I really don't know how low the floor or how low the ceiling is or how high the floor is on Dillon Gabriel. I think the ceiling is probably shorter than Shedeur's. Maybe Shedeur has more natural arm talent or whatever it might be.
I thought Shedeur had more arm talent than Dillon.
But
and by the way, stop referencing the combine or the Senior Bowl thing with Dillon. It's not real. He set the record at the Senior Bowl. That's not a real measurement. That was some fake thing that got brought up, and people are throwing it in my face. Like, he set the all-time NFL record at Senior Bowl. Guys, his arm is not as good as Shedeur Sanders' arm. Like, I thought we all agreed on that going into the season, that Shedeur had more arm talent than Dillon.
I thought he was. I just thought Shedeur was better. That's all. I was surprised I was shocked that Shedeur fell to the 5th round. That's part of it too. And so maybe because of that, I feel his ceiling's better. Maybe I'm wrong about it. We're going to find out at some point. He's going to play. But
I'd like to see Dillon's mobility be more of a factor.
Yes. Is Shedeur going to play because we just want to see him, or is Dillon Gabriel going to play is Shedeur going to play because Dillon Gabriel struggles so much? I find the latter to be harder to say than the former.